Oh my God. Becky, the season is back. We're here. I'm fired up. Football is always a great time. And it's just what the doctor ordered. This is the Around the 412 Fantasy Football Show. I am your host, Joe Frick, and joined with none other than the insightful, the inspiring, the marvelous Drew Hannis, all the way from the east side of PA, holding it down for us. Drew, how we doing, my friend?
The vibes couldn't be higher. My holographic Charizard I won off eBay finally showed up. The bids have been out there for a long time. Got a personal record in the gym on my bench, and it's week one. Like, I'm just all the way back. I'm about 85% better than all the other podcasts out there. So, Eli Rogers shout out.
Huge. I feel like he's been saying that for how long now? Like, since 2017, maybe?
That's how back we are. As soon as that tweet comes out that he's the best route runner in the NFL, we're back. Shout out to Eli Rogers.
Shout out to Eli Rogers. Shout out to NFL Red Zone, who tried to crush the vibes today. I'm still pissed off at you, but I will still probably watch you because I am a slave to these capitalist games that they play with our hearts. Speaking of hearts,
come out with like a version where you can like pay to not have commercials.
But you already pay. That's the whole point. Is that you're paying. It's crazy. And Pat McAfee can eat some things because he is carrying that water for ESPN. They don't let your friends on the show. Now you're telling me that I'm not going to be mad that Red Zone has commercials. Like, you don't represent my city, bro. Get out of here. I'm done with him. Anywho, on to brighter things. Maybe not brighter, but getting back onto the normal business of events of the evening. Drew, put on the lab coat. It's week one. How are we looking on an injury front?
Things are looking pretty good, actually. All the injuries that we have out here to talk about are all stuff that we've kind of known about for a while. So I just kind of rattled off a few of these guys here, whether or not we think they were probably going to play this week. So the first one, Darnell Mooney. He suffered that shoulder injury early in the training camp. He's practicing. I still feel like he's going to be like a game time decision though. Like I'm just not really feeling the vibes for him this week, but he has a chance to play. Khalil Shakir, high ankle sprain we've known about for some time. He's back at practice. I do expect him to play this week. Isaiah Likely with his foot injury. He's not back at practice yet. I know that there was an outside shot looking in after he had the surgery, whether or not he'd be ready for week one. It doesn't look like he's going to be ready for week one, which kind of sucks because that matchup's going to be fire this weekend. Just as many guys as you can start from that matchup, it's just such a sexy matchup. Just rattle off Ravens and Bills players. Jaden Reed, Jones fracture. He's obviously practicing. He's trying to play through, so he'll be on the field. Najee Harris with that eye. He's back at practice. We're expecting him. Like, perfect timing, right? All the people thought that O'Mara Hampton would get a shot. No one else in the backfield to share with, but Najee is expected to play, and not only is he expected to play, there's reports that he could be the lead guy. I'm not sure I'm buying it, honestly, but that chatter is out there that he might be the starter. Devon Achane with his calf practicing, he's expected to play. I'm a little concerned about that one, honestly. Like, the calf injury, obviously, if you rush that back, that could become much worse than just a calf. It could become an Achilles. But they feel good about him playing. So, obviously, if you have him, you'll run him out there. And then finally, Justin Jefferson, who's quietly not been practicing like all of training camp. He's back to practice, and he's expected to play as well. And obviously, that dude's a stud. He doesn't need practice time. He can step right in the field and just ball out for you. But.
Yeah, and, it's interesting. If Jefferson were to miss – Ty Felton, wide receiver 1. Adam Thielen, wide receiver 1. Like,
Adam Thielen. I would elevate Adam Thielen to a must start if he came.
It's crazy time. But I think that'll be out there. Justin Jefferson is kind of the key to McCarthy being able just to not really have to think about things and throw it to a GOAT. So you find out about him real quick what he's made of if he starts losing those weapons. But already without Addison for the first 3. They lose JJ at all those first 3 weeks. I mean, it's going to be tough sledding for him. But cool, man. Sounds good. Hopefully we can keep him healthy. Let's transition a little bit into our fantasy headlines for the week. Now, we talked a little about it last week, how things don't really matter in the preseason. But the streets are a bit concerned potentially about some of these rookie depth charts. So the big one, Lil Bill on Capitol Hill, aka in the Houston Scott Fishbowl draft. Somebody dropped a bill on Lil Bill, put a full 100 tab on the boy. But Corey crossed the merit. I'll be 4 on the depth chart for Washington. We got RJ Harvey, RB3 in Denver. We've got Caleb Johnson, the new Najee Harris 2.0, with 2 eyes and breakaway speed, RB3 in Pittsburgh. And we have the heartthrob of the running backs in all of the preseason, Travion Henderson, RB3 in New England. So, Drew, we rattled off 4 names there. Probably a lot of people drafted these fellows somewhere between the 5th and 7th rounds. Do you have any concerns about these rookies as we enter week 1?
I mean, we can rattle off Caleb right off the bat. We've been talking about this for weeks. We always knew that. That's just how the Steelers operate. Like, Caleb is going to have to earn his way on the field. We've been drafting him as a guy that we were hoping as an upside play in the back half of the season. So this isn't much of a surprise. Travion Henderson, that one I don't get. Like, that dude needs to play. I'm starting him in multiple leagues, and I'm starting him without reservation. Like, the dude's too talented. He's shown it. I think it's just a matter of time until, he really breaks loose. But they're going to give him the ball. I hope he gets at least 10 touches, but I would expect more than that in week 1. That would be brutal if not. The Bill stuff that's wild, honestly. Like, it would be like the biggest blunder in fantasy sports, like, of the last 5 years if he just was a healthy and active week 1. I don't buy it that way. He was practicing like as the second running back today, but like that would be honestly like it would be pretty funny if he just like was a healthy scratch week 1.
Yeah, no, it would be pretty nuts. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think that he'll see some run, but I think it's going to be way less than what people are thinking. I think it's going to be a very ugly committee. I think that if any of them, Austin Eckler is probably the one that I want to play the most. If you
were the first one to like, I don't know about everyone on Twitter, but you 100% were early on saying Eckler.
Yeah, and if you were looking at the matchup for the Giants, they're pretty susceptible to kind of like the running back dump off. They were a top 10 in giving up like receiving yards to running backs last year. Obviously a new year, new scheme. But the thing you have to keep in mind, they want to keep Jaden Daniels on his feet. They want to get away from that front 4 for the Giants, which is pretty nasty. I mean, you got Sexy Dexy coming back. They got a lot of picks with like Thibodeau and some others that they've really forced that. Abdul Carter now. So, I mean, they're going to want to get the ball out fast. Eckler is a great safety valve for that. Deebo Samuel, great safety valve for that. So I think that the West Coast style of offense that Kingsbury runs with them, I think it's going to pay dividends in that matchup. So I think Eckler is going to have the best game of the week out of the 3. Rodriguez, we'll see. They said he was kind of the goal line back. Was it coach speak? Was it not? We'll find out. So I'm excited about that. But
yeah,
all right.
So, we didn't Harvey that much, but I'm not really concerned there either. It's just that. I mean, he still hasn't shown an ability to pass block, pass protect in the backfield. So, like, he's going to get some, but he could be limited to, like, some third down roles early on. But long term, we expect him to, break out of that too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because Dobbins probably better suited to jump in day 1 and be that pass catching back for them and be the third down guy. I think it's going to be a pretty even split, though, so it'll be interesting to see. I don't have any of these rookies ranked super high. I have them all like in the mid-20s, so they're like fringe RB2s for me. Except for Caleb Johnson. Well, I guess really I'm talking about Harvey and Henderson. I wouldn't be playing Bill. I wouldn't be playing Caleb Johnson week 1, but that's totally fun. So we'll see where it lands. All right, before we jump into Fantasy World Tinder, we got a question in the chat from our boy Tyler Hernley. In my 1 QB dynasty with Daniels, Murray, and Darnold rostered, I traded Justin Fields for Roman Wilson in the 3rd next year. After Marv and Puka, there's a lot of names, but no sure thing. I think that's interesting. If that's the same league that we're in, I'm gonna be really pissed at you because I would have gave you way better for Fields. But I think it just depends on how much you believe in Roman Wilson. I think he could be okay. I don't think he's going to be like a fantasy darling, but I think he could be like a real life productive football player. But we haven't really seen him on the field, so it's hard to give that kind of analysis. Man, Tyler, you don't trade this guy like one dude. So he was on me about Jameson Williams for like 3 years, and then I traded him to get Egbuka actually. And now Tyler's just iced me out. Check your chats. Check your chats with me, Tyler, because I know that I said when the season comes, talk to me about Fields. I'm not hurt. It's fine.
He's hurt.
But I'm hurt a little bit.
He's like Cowboys fans right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you could have got a little bit more. I feel like Justin Fields would have been a great trade after a big game kind of thing. He's going to have a tough game, I think, against the Steelers. They lost Vera Tucker. They have really not a lot going for them as far as the matchup goes. The Steelers were, I think, top 2 or 3 in the league last year in rushing yards allowed against quarterbacks. So it's pretty tough for a Justin Fields type player, but we'll see where we land. And then Tyler also jumped in on the Rodriguez piece. Thinks that he's going to emerge as the main runner. I could definitely see a world where he does it. The advanced fancy stats, PFF seems to favor him pretty high. Favor him pretty highly. So we'll see how it shakes, but there's a lot of openness there. It'll be interesting to see whoever gets that goal line work between Bill and Rodriguez, they become potentially useful, but we'll see where we land. And oh man, it looks like we're holding off on Tinder because the star of the show is here. None other than your mom's favorite quarterback hoarder, Chad. Welcome to the show, Chad. So it's all the time that we've all been waiting for. Instead of starting Josh Allen versus the Ravens or Joe Burrow versus the Browns, I'm all in on Bryce Young versus the Jaguars. I feel like you did this exact same thing last year where you were all hot on Bryce Young. I will tell you this, though, Chad.
It was in the playoffs.
It was in the playoffs. So it was absolutely absurd. But I do hear you. I think that Bryce Young has a great matchup against the Jags. I do really like Tet McMillan. I think I have him as my wide receiver 14 this week. I'm trying to pull it up now so that I can check. But, yeah, I don't necessarily think that I would start Josh Allen versus the Ravens. Like, to me, in that situation, you got to take one of the studs. Like, what's the point of having those guys if you're just going to sit them on your bench? Like,
I just don't know how you – I don't know how you sit Josh Allen when it's the Bills versus the Ravens. The over-under is 50.5. It's the highest by far. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and if it's a high-scoring game, Josh Allen has to be scoring fantasy points.
So I have Bryce Young at 15 right now for the week. The Allen game versus the Ravens, like you said, that's a big one. Burrow versus the Browns, they're going to have to throw the ball.
And Burrow's slow, so like I'm okay with not like overthinking that a little bit. Like I still think even though he played in the preseason, I just don't. He's just not that guy at the beginning of the year. They've just always looked bad. Their offensive line is brutal. I think Myles Garrett's going to get after him. I just think Josh Allen's a no-brainer against the Ravens. Like this could be each team scoring 30 points.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It's just if it's a 1 QB league, what's the point?
Yeah, if you have 2 top 5 quarterbacks, you should be trading one of those guys to get like an elite wide receiver or running back.
Or if you really feel that passionate about Bryce Young, just trade them both.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. We'll see. But there's probably more to this story because we know that Chad has like 6 quarterbacks on his roster right now. So.
I think Chad just gets high off of making a ridiculous pick and being right. Like he just.
You know how some people get like really charged up about drafting and then they just play best ball and it kind of like scratches the itch? There's not really an equivalent for trading. Like you can't, like you can maybe play some Madden, but like you got to pony up and pay the money to get trading. I don't know. There's no way to scratch that itch otherwise.
I just don't get it.
We'll see. All right. So we got Jared, the GOAT. So what's up, guys? Quick question for you. My flex spot, Egbuka or Devonta Smith? So if we're looking at the matchup, Dallas is such a good matchup for Devonta Smith. If you were to play Devonta Smith, friendly reminder, it's week 1. Don't put your flex spot player in the flex spot on your Thursday night game or your Friday night game. So if you're going to play Devonta Smith, you are going to want to play him in a wide receiver slot, right? So if we're looking at kind of the matchup there, we already said Devonta Smith, great kind of play there. We also have Egbuka in a elevated role due to injury. I like them both, really. I will say that, let's see here. I have Devonta Smith ranked 25th this week versus Dallas. I think that they have a much more potent attack that they're going to run. I recognize that they were the 32nd most passing team, so they passed the least last year. I know it's the unpopular opinion with Egbuka going against Atlanta. I actually think that Atlanta has a better defense there, and I think that just the way that they're going to attack it, I would rather play Devonta Smith there. So, Drew, what about for you?
Sorry, Jared, but I'm on the Egbuka train, so you're just going to have to go with your gut, which analysts you like more. I think Egbuka's hot. I think that the Falcons secondary is actually kind of weak, and I think that their top corner is going to shadow Mike Evans. So I just think that Egbuka's going to get, he's going to get the better half of that secondary. I think that it could be a sneaky high-scoring game too. I think both teams can score. I don't know. I'm off on Devonta Smith really as a player because I don't think that their offense supports him on a week to week basis, and I'm not the type to start a guy that's just like he's just going to boom some weeks and some weeks he's just going to be a dud. I just don't think they throw the ball enough.
Yeah, no, that's fair for sure. Yeah. So, Jared, pick your favorite one of us. We know it's me, but it might be Drew sometimes. So we'll see where it lands. Circling back to Tyler's point, taking the chance on Roman, proving himself. Doesn't think that Calvin comes back after the season, so we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to Roman Wilson as well. I thought he slid a little bit in the NFL draft when he came out, but I think he could excel in that power slot kind of role. So, Chad saying Derrick Henry usually kind of just crushes the Bills year in and year out. Looking back, last year Henry went for 199, Allen went for 180, 0 TDs. Not really sure what Derrick Henry running has to do with Allen throwing the ball, but I respect the hustle. And so finishing up on Jared's question, can I move Puka or Neighbors to flex? That's what I have. So, yeah, just pick one of the two. You don't have to tweet at them and tell them that, hey, I moved you to the flex. But it's just a better thing to slide one of those guys to the flex because if one of them, let's say the Neighbors breaks a toe or something like that, but you only have running backs available now or something like that, you can't. It gives you more flexibility in your lineup. So if you have him slotted in as a wide receiver, but then you don't have any wide receiver spots to swap, it can kind of put you in a weird move.
You gotta keep Puka in as a wide receiver just because of seniority. Dude's been in the league longer.
Both historic rookie seasons, but I do like that team. I mean, having both of those guys as a flex, to me, it gives me more motivation to play Devonta Smith because you can absorb if it's not as much of a boom week. But I think both are solid options. I think you're going to be fine regardless, unless you have Bill playing running back for you or something. So we'll see. Also, and a surprise to no one, the quarterback order has been blackballed from his league, so they aren't letting him trade. So, yeah, you're going to have to figure that out on the guy. All right, so let's keep this rolling with the questions. So, one more tough one. I think there was another one above it, so we'll do that one first. So, need to start 2 full PPR. Marv Golden, Tracy Downs, now that he got cleared today. All right, Drew. How are you feeling about Marv this year? Are the vibes better?
Oh yeah, I'm all in on Marv. I think we talked about this earlier in the preseason because I ranked Bowers ahead of McBride just because I was expecting that lead from Marv. Yeah. I just think the dude's too good. It's just a matter of Kyler Murray getting him the ball, and a lot of the plays that he got last year, the targets he got were just chuck it deep for him, and it was just they were not high percentage throws. And I think that they're going to work that out and design some place they can get him open in the intermediate. He's going to get some more catchable balls, and he's just going to be better all around.
All right, so it sounds like Marv is a one for you. Tyler, also a big Marv guy. He drafted pretty much the entire Cardinals team in a league. So he has McBride, Marv, Connor, and then he took Kyler just because why not? So Arizona Cardinals might as well get the defense. They're going to be a top 5 defensive start this week in fantasy, so go pick them up. But so I would agree with you. Marv was an easy one for me. What about these other 3 guys here? So you got Golden, Tracy, and then Josh Downs.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Golden personally because there's not much out there in terms of competition in that wide receiver room right now with all the injuries. I think Downs would be my next choice because I love the matchup this week.
Yeah, it's a fantastic matchup for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more later, I think. But that's the order I would go. I would just go with Golden just because I think that he's going to have the best opportunity between all 3, he probably has the best opportunity.
Yeah, especially with Jaden Reed having this Jones fracture. I don't think he's going to play this week, or if he does, he's not going to be able to be effective. So yeah. I like the Marvin Golden play as well. So let's keep it rolling. So the second one, start 2 full PPR, Diggs, Etienne, Harvey, and Josh Downs. Diggs is the best player on this list, in my opinion. He's coming in fully healthy. He said that today. I have him ranked as my wide receiver. Well, where did my list go? I guess I haven't finished my rankings yet, but I have him in the top 25 of my ranks here. So I think that you have to play him. He's the primary target. They're going to pepper him with targets, and I think he's going to be the kind of the cog between him and Travion Henderson in New England. So, Drew, if you agree with Diggs, we can just give it the thumb, and then who would be your second pick out of that group?
Yeah, I'm between Downs. I mean, I'm actually okay with all 3. I think that I would choose Etienne, though, which is the toughest thing for me because I just don't like the Jags right now. Like, I don't know what they look like, but I think my gut feeling is that Etienne's going to be the guy in the backfield initially. I just don't know how long it's going to last or what it's going to look like. But Harvey might not get as much work early on as we thought, and Downs coming back from the hammy. I'm okay with Downs, though, too. Honestly, I prefer to see what his practice participation looks like the rest of the week. I think that if he's a full go the rest of the week, I'd probably give him a leg up on Etienne if he's a full participant. But
yeah, I think Harvey, just the risk of like what's going to happen with it, probably gets the last rank out of the 4 for me. I agree. Etienne has a good matchup. We'll see how it shakes out. That like murkiness of the backfield does scare me though, so I'd probably lean Diggs and Downs, give him the double D's. All right.
If there's any concern about Downs practicing, though, I think I would give Etienne just the leg up for that.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. All right. So should we be pounding the Lions skill position players in DFS and their over props versus Green Bay defense that gave up 24 and 34 to them last year? Replace Kenny Clark with a very injured no practice Micah Parsons.
The DFS slate's not very good, to be honest. I think that this probably is the best game, but like having the Bills and Ravens not on the main slate kind of screws everything up, honestly. And then the Cowboys aren't in the main slate either. I'm kind of pounding the Dolphins a little bit too.
That's a good transition. So let's jump into fantasy football Tinder so we can talk about pounding Dolphins. Super fun. But for those of you that are not initiated with fantasy football Tinder, the way that this works is as follows. The way that I like to learn best is an example. So let me give you this example here. So this is my friend Zach, Drew's friend Zach, our friend Zach, the city of Pittsburgh's friend Zach, and the streets would like to know, did Zach spend more time on Acrisure Stadium's field this season so far than Robert Woods, who unceremoniously released himself from the Pittsburgh practice squad and said, you know what, give me a call back if you got something better for me. So the true ball knowers, the people of Pittsburgh, we all rally behind our king, Zach here, and we know that he's living up on the field. He's doing all this cool stuff, just kissing babies, the whole works. But some of the haters are going to say, no, man, Bobby Trees, that's my dog. They're going to swipe left. So when we swipe right, you'll see the green hearts on the screen. Whenever we are swiping left, we will give you the red X's just as you would on your favorite dating app. So our first one here that we're going to talk about, Drew, speaking of, what were you saying, pounding Dolphins? Let's talk a little bit about
the pounding Lions.
Keep pounding is the hashtag for the podcast as well. Super weird. Anywho, so Drew, the streets would like to know, there's a lot of concern about Tyreek Hill, right? So the the vibes in Miami have been a little bit strange. We've seen this video where allegedly he's running at like 25 miles per hour, even though we never actually see him running in the video. We just kind of see him with like a harness on after the fact. Not named a captain for the first time since he's been on the team. Are you still trying to get your recon this year? Do you still think that he's the guy in Miami?
Swipe left on Tyreek Hill. I have 0 shares Tyreek Hill this year. I don't feel bad about it. It's just that a lot of what his game is predicated on is obviously the deep pass game, blowing by guys. He's still fast, but all of those metrics for him were down last year. He had the lowest number of yards per target, 7.8. Obviously, Tua being out probably hurt that a little bit as well, but how can we sit here and rely on Tua week in, week out? We don't know what his future looks like, so as it is. Third lowest yards per touch at 11.4 of his career. The dude his metrics were low. He said some stuff about how he wasn't even understanding what their offense was last year. Like he just wasn't in it mentally. And he spent the entire offseason telling his teammates that he didn't want to be a Dolphin. So like the vibes are just low in that locker room. Like he has to be walking on eggshells in there, knowing people got to have negative vibes about how they feel about him as a player. And his contract's up after next season. He said he was going to retire at the end of that contract. The Dolphins, if they come out to a rough start early on, which I kind of expect that because I just don't think they're a very good team, there's no point in them keeping him knowing that their future isn't Super Bowl related and he's going to retire soon anyway. So get rid of that contract, send him on to a contender. He could be like a Devontae Adams type move at the deadline, but it depends on where he goes. And if he does go somewhere good, I still feel like he's going to be a role player because a good Super Bowl caliber team, besides maybe the Bills, probably already have a receiver or two that they already have as like their reliable option. So he's not going to be a top option like he is there. I think it's about time that Jalen Waddle, takes the next step. Hopefully he could stay healthy. The only good thing I feel about Tyreek is that I think that a lot that hurt him last year was the fact that Jonnu Smith was a big part of their offense, and now all of those targets are gone. But it's just the whole vibes around that team. It doesn't feel good, and I'm not in on it.
Yeah, for sure. I think the tricky part about this, and I'm with you, I'm swiping left, is I also don't have any shares of Tyreek, but I do find myself this week liking what Tyreek could potentially do. It feels like he could have a big week against Indianapolis. So if you look at the defensive coordinator for them, Lou Anarumo, he was formerly with Cincinnati. They ran a lot of single high safety looks in Cincinnati. What better way for Tyreek to have a big week? He still excels in that. He's such a burner that if you only have one safety up top, he takes the top off the Maybach, and then he's ready to have kind of like that big game. So for me, I'm with you. I don't think that he has like that for the season. I think that McDaniel could be the first coach fired this season. That's kind of been like the rumor that's been floating around. I buy into that. He's had this like really weird energy about him as of late, and it's just
he's like talking about death and stuff. It's like
talking about death. He's made this comment today about like Ollie Gordon's gonna have 0 carries, or he's gonna have all the carries. He's gonna have no yards. He's gonna have all the yards. Like it's like, dude, like shut up and like learn how to like make your players not be mad that they're getting tackled in tackle football. Like you have way bigger issues to like figure out. So I do think that it's Jalen Waddle time if he can stay on the field. To your point, you lost some of that target competition. I do think Achane like is going to take some of that there. But yeah, I think Tyreek, probably a decent game this week. I'd be looking to ship him out the first time that he has a good game. I don't see it sustaining for the whole year. Before we move into our next Tinder, we had one other question come in from Tyler. So Pearsall, Odunze, Egbuka, Waddle, I have one spot left. Drew, anybody stand out for you in that list?
I mean, I kind of like all of them, but picking one. Jennings coming back this week, I do think that'll hurt Pearsall a little bit.
I have all 4 of them ranked within 6 picks of each other, and I have Waddle the highest. I just think that Indy-Miami game has all the makings of a shootout. I don't really feel great about the matchup against Minnesota. I think that Minnesota is going to try to wreak havoc on Caleb Williams. It's going to be really fun to watch that game, actually.
The Vikings secondary isn't the best though, but I don't know if I'm ready to start a Dunze till I see what the offense looks like.
Well, yeah. Well, the big thing about Minnesota is it's very like we're going all out. You might get the big play, but we also might put you in a blender.
Yeah.
So, and I think that Pearsall, he could have a decent game. I think they're going to lean more on the run. We'll see what happens. Jawan Jennings coming back. If he was to miss, then that might change things for me with Pearsall. And then Buka we already talked about. But I think all of those guys are fairly interchangeable. I think I just like Waddle with the matchup the most.
Yeah, I think I'm Waddle like Buka, a Dunze, Pearsall. Just because Pearsall and Dunze, they're just so close for me. I just gave a Dunze to Nod because he's my own OnlyFantasy, and I got to ride with him. That's really all there.
Of course. All right, so let's get into Tinder 2. So we're looking at Travis Hunter. So we were talking about, mentioned before we jump into the second Tinder. I didn't mention it at the start, but 56% of voters online said that they do believe that he is going to return to form, he being Tyreek Hill. Transitioning into Travis Hunter, though, a little banged up in the preseason. It didn't seem like a serious injury, but some folks are concerned of, hey, like, is this somebody that we should be starting week 1? Drew, you had mentioned to me yesterday, we were kind of going over the plan for the show, that Travis Hunter only being started in 33% of leagues this week. The online poll, 53% of voters saying that they will not have him in their lineups this week. Do you feel any type of way about Travis Hunter being in a lineup of yours going into week 1?
It's funny when I brought that up to you, like I was on the fence myself. I think the matchup's really good. I do. I think that, the Panthers secondary is brutal. JC Horn, he just got the big contract. I still feel like he wasn't that great last year either. Like his PFF grade was modest at best, and he gave up a 98.3 passer rating on targets against him, which is pretty brutal. But like, I'm still not starting Travis Hunter. I swiped left, and the reason why I'm not starting him is that I kind of alluded to this already when I talked about ETN. That offense is an enigma. I have no idea what that's going to look like, and I'm staying away from the whole offense until I can see it, because I don't know what Trevor Lawrence is going to look like. I do think he has a bounce back year, but I still have to see it. Brian Thomas Jr. is the only one that like people can feel good about in that.
I feel really good about Brian Thomas Jr. this week. I'm with you. I'm swiping left as well. The big thing for me, it's interesting. If you looked at that game against Pittsburgh, he had, I think, 3 or 4 targets in the like 12 snaps that he played. And I was like, okay, like this is really interesting. What's interesting to me beyond that, will he probably be targeted pretty decently? Yes. I would love to see what's happening with this kind of like cornerback situation. They listed him as a backup, but a starting receiver. I expect him to be in the slot. Yes. I think the one spot that Carolina actually has good coverage is in the slot. Smith Wade's a solid slot guy, so that presents a little bit of a matchup. So for me, it's like I don't hate the idea of Hunter. He's somebody that I really liked as far as a dynasty play, but I don't have the level of excitement that I do for, say, on the flip side of that game. I feel like Tech could go crazy this week, or T-Mac, I should say. I think that like he's set for a big game. Travis Hunter could prove me wrong, but there's just other guys that I have more confidence going into week 1, although I only have him on one dynasty team out of the numerous leagues that I'm in. So it hasn't really had to be a decision.
I will say I don't know what his price is yet. I didn't really start setting my lineups yet. I'm kind of giving it some thought. I think that Travis Hunter is the perfect DFS play, though. He's a guy who should be in a DFS lineup because they might want to feature him because of what they gave up and they want to show what they did. But I still have to see it. So I'd rather.
Yeah, it is hard to be like, hey, you drafted this guy second overall now. Like, I'm just going to sit him on my bench. But we just watched that happen with Marv last year. And how many weeks was it before we were like, okay, maybe I can't start him?
Yeah.
So we'll see how it shakes. But good deal. All right. So we're going to jump into our last segment of the day here, our only fantasies for the week. So if you were with us last week, Drew and I went through our only fantasy subscriptions for the season. This week, we instead of doing it for the week, we're going to talk about guys that we think are going to greatly exceed their ADP, have a smash performance relative to kind of what the the ECR or anything like that is. Before I let Drew jump into his player for the week, I do think it's important if you are here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Find us on Twitter. Find us in all those different places. We'll show you where in a little bit. Also, if you have any last-minute questions for the chat, we appreciate all the feedback that we've been getting from folks, so that's super awesome. So it's kind of last call for alcohol, so give us your questions and your start sits. We'll make sure that we get to them before we get the show over with. So, Drew, let's start it hot. You're kind of the guy for this thing. Usually the people that I touch, I'm kind of like the Medusa of this group. They always turn to dust. They turn to rock. Like they get hurt something or other. But week one, we kind of hinted at this before with the matchup a little bit, but talk to the people about who you're subscribing to OnlyFantasy week one.
Yeah, so my OnlyFantasy for week one is Michael Pittman. He's projected 12 fantasy points this week on ESPN, wide receiver 43 overall for their ranks. I think that's incredibly low. You already alluded to it with this matchup. It's the second highest line at 47.5. which I like that a lot. And the Dolphins secondary is brutal. It is absolutely brutal. You're looking at Storm Duck, Jason Marshall Jr., Jack Jones, Juju Brents that they just claimed off waivers. And, of course, they just signed Rasul Douglas earlier last week. None of those guys had a PFF grade over 59. It's just brutal. I mean, Minka's going to be there after the Steelers trade him back to Miami. But I think that, if anything, Josh Downs might see a little of Minka in the slot, depending on what side he lines up on. I think Michael Pittman's going to be free and clear on that outside. I'm not worried about Rasul Douglas at all. I just think that he's a top 20 play for me just based on matchup. And I think that he's going to outscore his ADP by a lot. He could be a smash play if he gets in the end zone too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that I like both of the receiving options. I like a lot of the receivers for the Colts, actually. I mean, Adonai Mitchell, Josh Downs, you got Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman did a lot with a broken back last year. I'm excited to see him healthy again and have him remind people that he's still young. Like, he's not this old, washed-up dude.
Yeah.
He's had some injury problems, so it'll be exciting to see. I think that Daniel Jones is in line for, like, a pretty solid game. I have him in my top 20 this week, so we'll see what happens. We got to give a shout-out to our boy, Cannon, saying, here we go. Glad to have the boys back. Going to tear up the Jets. Really excited about that. Definitely see the Steelers as a top option. And speaking of Steelers, my boy completely getting after it. I have a league where I only drafted Steelers. Your opinion?
You're going to lose.
I hope that you don't have a punishment in your league, my guy. I think that there's probably on a week-to-week basis, the only Steelers that I probably would feel comfortable starting every week is the defense, and that's not even an every week thing. And then DK Metcalf. I think that Jonnu Smith is going to surprise some people. I think that they're going to have him as a feature in the offense. You talk about, like, hey, who has the opportunity to be the second target getter on the team? Jonnu Smith. They're finding ways to get him in the backfield, line up in different places, get him the ball. I think he's going to be a big part of that. People are kind of worried. But other than that, maybe Caleb Johnson end of the year. But
the Steelers just scoring enough points to ever.
You better hope that Boz puts up a 30 rack every week, bro.
Yeah,
that's your best chance.
This week could be 6 Boz field goals, and that's all you got.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, throw Rogan. I don't think he's really getting drafted. Jaylen Warren could be a flex guy, depending on how many catches that he gets. The wide receiver situation is grim, as I'm sure you already know. Tight end, I mean, yeah, Jonnu could be serviceable, but he's not even in the top 12 of guys, typically when you're looking at rankings, all that sort of stuff. Special teams kicking, great. So we love all that. But, hey, man, it's your cash. Do what you want with it. I respect the hustle. So, any last thoughts on Michael Pittman, Drew, before we switch over here?
No, the only thing I was going to say is that last year he was Jameis Winston, pain everywhere, but you already alluded that. He's healthy again, so I just feel really good.
Good deal. All right, so let me kind of set the scene for you a little bit. I mentioned that I like the Bryce Young matchup this week. I think that the Jaguars are going to be kind of like pretty Swiss cheese, you know. I think that Tet is, I keep saying that. It's such a, I got to get out of that habit. T-Mac.
Tet, do what you want.
No, I can't. I don't want his mom to find me and beat me up. I'm not that strong. But I think that he's in line for a great game. Top 15 for sure. there's been a lot of questions about who is the person behind that, right? So we had the Coke heads super pumped up about Jalen Coker. He goes on IR.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen was kind of like a sneaky last pick of the draft kind of a guy, gets traded. Somebody that's been having a fantastic camp from all reports in Carolina is none other than Jatavion Sanders. I know that you got Leggett there, but I think Sanders is going to be the big beneficiary. If we look at what the Jaguars did against tight ends last year, 933 yards allowed, 8 touchdowns allowed, which is top 5 in the league. The Panthers, funny enough, were the highest in that. So shout out to Brenton Strange. Maybe he gets it. But when we're looking at these tight ends in the later areas of the draft where you can get them for free, you're looking at somebody that can score that touchdown, that can break one. I like the athletic profile. I think he had a decent, from a tight end perspective, rookie year last year. I think he does meet the hype from camp, and I think he has a big week one. So I'm excited to see him. I think that he's going to greatly surprise people, especially if you think that Bryce Young is going to continue to take a step forward. I do. And we'll see how it shakes. So hopefully he can just stay healthy and avoid the Frick curse.
I like the play too. And I also want to throw out there another DFS play that I love this week, and he will 100% be in my lineups because he should be free. He should be the lowest price.
He should be absolutely free. And I'm trying to pull up the stats right now. I feel like he had a pretty strong end to the season last year. So let me see game logs. Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy. I mean, he had 5 targets in the last game of the year. He had a stretch in the middle of the season where he was putting up like 5-6 catches. So I love that. But I'd love to see him find the end zone. He's kind of been their shining star of camp. So let's see what they can do with it.
I like Hunter Renfrow this week too.
Oh, man. Bro almost didn't get signed because his daughter was watching Bluey on his phone.
But yeah, he's going to be starting this week out of the slot. The dude can still get open. That was never a problem.
No, yeah.
I love him in DFS too.
Good deal. All right, Drew. So let's kind of just show the people where they can find us if they have questions going into the week. Friendly reminder, we have a game tomorrow, real life, adult football, getting naked, touching balls, doing all that stuff. It's going to be sick. We, again, have a game Friday in Brazil. We've got football on Saturday, not in the NFL, but there's still football to be played. And then we got Monday and Sunday to bring it home. So we got a lot of good football coming in. Make sure to take all of those players in those super early games out of their flex spots. And then when you have your lineup questions, when you have your concerns, Drew might even start drinking again. We'll see what happens. But you can find us on our personal handles at JOEFRK, at Drew Hannes. You can find us on X at AT412FF Show. You can find us here on YouTube at Around the 412 and on Twitch at Around the 412. We've been having a little bit of Twitch issues. I got to talk to the boss there about that, but I don't think we're actually even streaming there today. But that's all good. But Drew, any last minute thoughts?
No, man, I'm so fired up. My sleep schedule is about to be so Joe Frick. You have no idea.
It's worth
waking up at 4:30 in the morning, but sleeping like no hours. Football's back.
Football is back, and so are we. So we're going to wrap up here under an hour. We're really learning how to be adults here in this stream. Only took us about 5 years to figure it out. But
I have a draft at 9:30, so I had to shut my mouth.
So shout out to Drew. If anybody wants to schedule a draft from every week at 9:30, this show's going to be so sweet this year. But yeah, so join us next week at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, Wednesday night. We'll hit all of the recaps from week 1. We'll get our Tinders for the week. We'll be swiping left, swiping right, and then we'll give you our OnlyFantasy predictions for week 2. This is the Around the 412 Fantasy Football Show. I am Joe Frick. That is Drew Hannes. We will see y'all next week. Best of luck in week 1, and looking forward to talking to you in week 2.